I love the rain, especially in the fall. I feel like it just adds a nice spooky backdrop to crafting. Cozy as well, for sure. Which is perfect for today's prompt, which is incantation. I just feel like there's something really magical about the rain, and I'm hoping I can bring a little bit of that magic to the diorama today. So I have always considered washes to be magical. And look, I stand by this one. I actually stand by this one. Some people think that washes are like a beginner's thing and like, you know, liquid skill, I've often referred to it as. And I don't know if that's supposed to be insulting, but honestly, it's not insulting to me. Why wouldn't you use liquid skill? You know what I'm saying? No, I think that all techniques are valid. Washes, it yields really good results if used with a deft hand. So that is one of the ways I'm going to bring some magic to the diorama today, casting a little incantation over the diorama. So I'm gonna add a wash to the mausoleum just to add a little bit of depth and shadow, and maybe to some other little parts too that I feel like could add a little bit of a pop. I can't decide if this camera angle is cool or if it's kind of stupid. You be the judge. So I have a few options when it comes to adding a wash to this. I've got your classic Nuln oil, which I do think could look nice here. I have this dark blue tone, which actually might be even better from Army Painter. I'm gonna grab a couple things actually. Athonian Camo Shade. I love this to add like a mossy kind of look, and I'm probably gonna add some of that to the stone. That should do it for now. So let's bring these over. The eagle eye among you might have noticed I also grabbed this. This is basically Citadel's version of Green Rust from Vallejo, which is what I used to patina up this sign, which looks really nice. There's just a couple spots on that where I think it could use an even kind of brighter, chalky patina, and I don't know, I just want to give this one a shot and see if it does anything different. So I'll do that today as well. I am just gonna jump right into the roof with the Army Painter dark blue tone. I don't think the stone really needs a heavy wash, at least not for like shadows. I don't know, this purple is stunningly beautiful, but it's a little light, I feel like. I watered it down the slightest bit. Honestly, not really much at all, but just a little bit, because I find that Army Painter washes can be pretty thick, which is not a bad thing. And I guess I would prefer them a little thick so that you can control how much it's thinned out. You can't really do much if something is just too thin. We will obviously know for sure once it dried, but I'm really just going for like the shadows, which you can totally see it kind of creating as it pools into those little crevices. I'll probably take a tiny piece of a damp paper towel and just lightly brush it just to get those big pools off. That pretty much did it perfectly. I'm not super worried about like where it looks a little gritty, because you know, this is an old mausoleum. It's kind of creating this really nice natural texture actually. You can see kind of a direct comparison of what it looks like on this side. You know, it's a lot more flat than it is on this side. Whoa, that was a crazy thing that just happened to my camera. You can really see the comparison here. I like the bit of texture that wiping the paper towel created, and just the little bit of darkness that is on this side. So I'm gonna do the same thing on that side. All right, I've just finished applying the wash to the roof, and it's looking really, really sweet. Now I'm gonna do one of my favorite techniques. I mean, it's generous to even call it a technique, but to use Athonian Camo Shade to create a little bit of mossiness on particularly the mausoleum, probably the gravestones as well. I don't know if I'm gonna put it all over the outer fence area stone as well. I might do a little bit of that, but let me show you what it looks like, because This is just, it's just a fantastic color. I'm not like the biggest fan of Citadel paints, especially because they come in the pots, but I do like the formulas of their shades a lot, and this is one of my favorite ones. I like to use a pretty scraggly brush. This is one I use a lot. You saw me use it in a previous video, in the rust video. I just like the way that an old scraggly brush applies washes when they're supposed to be messy. And I'm gonna apply it to areas, particularly towards the bottom where there's already some of that moss. Just in little bits, kind of like overlapping where the moss is. Now, of course, this moss clearly wasn't super well glued down because I'm now getting moss all over the tip of this, but that's okay. It kind of looks like algae, but I think it also makes sense in this setting. I'm gonna get a little bit on the roof as well. I'm thinking of this as just like a light layer of moss. You'll see when it dries, it's even a little bit more subtle, but it just adds some really natural variation to the stonework and just makes it look real nasty. I'm gonna go ahead and apply this to all the bits of stone where I feel like it needs it, and then I'll come back. Okay, huge updates here. I'm bringing it over the window just so you can get a little bit of that nice lighting. I've added more of the Citadel version of this to the cemetery, and by this I mean the patina. It looks heavy-handed, but oh, it looks so good to me. I also added a ton of the green wash. Loving how the green looks on the front of the mausoleum, like that wood kind of looks like it could be just sort of like rotted out. I added bits of the green wash to the tree as well, just in a few spots so that that kind of merged with the overall terrain. And again, it is still wet here, but it will look a little bit more muted when this is fully dry. But I think that's gonna do it for Incantation. This looks magical to me, not to be cheesy, but it does. So Incantation, I'm a count it. I'm loving this. I mean, God, just look at this. It's just so nice with the rust and the wash on the roof and the gross green and the coconut fiber that I was unsure of, but now I think it looks pretty gnarly and awesome. Thank you so much for watching. This has been Incantation. Like, subscribe, do all the stuff, and come back tomorrow to see what I could possibly add to this next. Because I feel like I've thrown the kitchen sink at it, but it's pretty dope to me. So maybe that's a valid strategy. See you tomorrow.